Jesse Eisenberg and Kieran Culkin are on a trip to Poland, and wacky antics and tears ensue. It's a real pain.
Yeah, when they talk about things being a dramedy, this is one of those times where we're really kind of balancing out between sort of, the quips and the tragedy.
We're not at the right station.
And you didn't wake me up.
Oh, you were having such a good nap, dude.
Jesus
you were like,
Christ, we are on a tour group with
I
people.
know, I just didn't have the heart to wake you up.
Kieran Culkin and Jesse Eisenberg are Benji and David Kaplan. They're cousins who used to be close and aren't so much anymore. Their beloved grandmother, who is very close to Benji, has recently passed away, and part of her will was that the two of them take a tour of Poland and revisit the places of her childhood, and basically the Poland that she escaped. And so they go on a tour that is specifically about Jewish history, about the ghettos and the pogroms and all of the things that happened in the 20th century to Poland's Jewish population. Benji is the wildly laid back one and very personable and chats up everybody and says inappropriate things and somehow makes them charming. And David, played by Jesse Eisenberg, is a little more of the stick in the mud. But as the movie emerges, these characters become much more complicated than what we think they're going to be. We think we've seen the wild and crazy guy pulls the other guys, pulls a stick out of his ass. But there's a lot more to these characters. There's a lot more going on underneath. And as we come to get to know them better, they're a lot more complicated than we might have initially given them credit for. All of this against them kind of figuring out their family history and sort of coping with the generational trauma of the Holocaust and of what it did to their grandmother and to their parents and how it's come to them and how generations are affected once you are a refugee or you are forced out of your country because of some horrible event like this. This is so beautiful. I love this movie so much. It's really entertaining, and Kieran Culkin is a spitfire here, and he's been getting a lot of praise for his performance ever since Sundance, and it's well deserved. I did not watch Succession, so I was not super versed on what Kieran Culkin had in his paint box, but it's really incredible to watch him and to see him sort of reveal the layers of this character. But don't sleep on Jesse Eisenberg, because he, in the straight man role here, has I think a tougher time of it and is doing just as much, if not more. My most heartbreaking moment in this movie centers on Eisenberg at the end of the film. I won't give away what that is. But that was the moment that really hit me in the gut more than anything else that had happened the entire time. Even though I was with this movie from start to finish. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it is great. And they're both so distinctly drawn, but then as they evolve, the more time they spend together, you believe who they become as well. And yeah, I do think Jesse Eisenberg's role in a lot of ways is harder because it is understated and it has to be the anchor, and Kieran Culkin gets to just go wild. It is high highs and low lows for Kieran Culkin's character. And that's kind of true in a lot of ways of who he played on Succession, because it's sort of the wild card, and it's clearly troubled, but people also feel for him. So I think there's some connection there as well. It's a showier role. And it's complicated because I think your feelings about that character change as the film goes on as well. At first it's oh, he's so fun. He's so charming. He walks into a room and he changes the vibe of it. And then the more you learn about him, the more you realize why that is and how self-destructive he is. And Jesse Eisenberg, as writer and director, does a lot to achieve a feeling for who these characters are as well, as far as how they walk side by side or how they stand and look at something together. There's a great full circle that exists within the visual structure of this film because it begins and ends at an airport.
Right.
And the camera comes around and through the crowd, it finds Kieran Culkin just sitting there by himself at the beginning. And then he mirrors that shot at the end. The camera comes around behind some seats and through the crowd, and then you find him, there he is, and then it holds on him. And I don't want to say what it is that happens, but like you get so much about who this person is from just that shot. And so that kind of control is really impressive here. This is just the second film that Jesse Eisenberg has directed. He also did 2022's When You Finish Saving the World, which we reviewed here, which I don't think either of us remembers all that well.
I know it took me a second. I know we reviewed it. Did I watch that movie? And then I did remember it. Yeah, no, I think this one's going to stick. Like this, I think this is really an impressive work for him as both writer and director. And there's a great supporting cast here, by the way. The rest of the tour group, the tour leader is played by Will Sharpe from The White Lotus from second season, who on that show is kind of a dopey hunk. He's the tech bro who's married to Aubrey Plaza. But he's doing something totally different in this movie, and it's really subtle, and he is called upon to react in a way that I think is really fascinating in a movie where he's not the prime mover, but he still is going through a lot of stuff with what's happening around him, with the people around him, particularly with the Kieran Culkin character. Jennifer Grey, who I admit I did not recognize,
so good,
dynamite in this as a divorcee taking the tour, who kind of has a bonding moment with Culkin's character. This is a terrific film.
Yeah, it's hard to watch a lot of the time too, because they do go to concentration camps. It does not shy away from the horrors of what happened to this place, to these people. And so seeing that in a movie that also contains a lot of cringe comedy, like mismatched buddy cringe comedy, just is a testament to Jesse Eisenberg's control of tone.
Yeah, that he can pivot that way. And I mean, he respects the silence of those spaces. Like when they get to the camp and they take the tour and they walk through the buildings, like you feel the air just like taken out of the room in the way that it should, like that like portrays the gravity of being in the presence of this place. And so I think that he can go from that to like witty character comedy, like that's a really tricky maneuvering for a filmmaker, and he manages it.
Right. Them smoking a joint on the roof, and like, what does that mean? Is very different from them, wandering through these sites. It makes you kind of maybe want to go to Poland. Like I've wanted to go to Poland for a while. Chris is half Polish. We've always talked about like that'd be a cool place to go, and like this is sort of a cool travelogue too.
Yeah, and there's a great moment where they revisit the grandmother's village that again leads to this moment that is both like tragic and hilarious, that I think is kind of a microcosm of the whole movie. So
yeah, and does not necessarily play out the way you think it might at the outset.
Exactly.
So what is your number then?
Like a 9.1. Okay. This is, we're getting to list time, and I will be thinking about this one.
Yeah, I'm going to say like an 8.2. It's very good. So A Real Pain, I think, is limited release this weekend and then going wider, right?
I believe that is the case. Yeah, but Searchlight has it. So it should be making its way out and about. And, eventually it will be on Hulu.
Check it out.